Hello, welcome back to Learn Oikonomia. Today we are going to see the fiscal policy in macroeconomics. Let's get started for the sake. We could see that fiscal policy involves the use of government spending, the use of tax policies in order to consider certain macroeconomic considerations or conditions. So when we say certain macroeconomic scenarios, what we mean is scenarios with respect to employment, scenarios with respect to inflation, as well as several other aspects of the economy like aggregate demand, aggregate supply, etc. So, when we say fiscal policy, I told you that it deals with the government policy, or it would be something to deal with the policies of the central government. Central government. The central government of a nation will have some tools like taxation and government spending in order to stabilize the economy. So they will be adjusting, the government will be adjusting its tax as well as spending so as to stabilize the economy. So everything related to the income of the government as well as expenditure of the government would be covered when we say the fiscal policy. Okay, so here when it comes to fiscal policy, it would be the role of the Ministry of Finance to deal with aspects and decisions related to fiscal policy, and when the Ministry of Finance deals with this, it will be doing this with the help of or support of the Niti Aayog. Having said so, let's consider the objectives of fiscal policy. Why do we have fiscal policy? What is the main role of fiscal policy? Fiscal policy aims at economic growth. It needs economic growth to increase. It always means for a price stability. And we here say regulate prices. We are not saying that it will be reducing prices, but instead what it does is regulation of price. It will see the current economic situation and see whether there is a need for the price to be brought down or whether there is a need for the price to be brought up. So it will be doing certain steps, or it will be taking certain steps so as to deal with the prevalent scenario. Again, full employment. So here means we are going for employment of all resources by having minimum wastage. Again, the government intend to have capital formation, and when we say capital formation, this will something that promote economic growth. Now, let's consider the two types of fiscal policy. The first fiscal policy type could be expansionary fiscal policy, and the next type of fiscal policy is contractionary fiscal policy. Also, you can have a neutral fiscal policy, but before that, let's consider an expansionary fiscal policy and contractionary fiscal policy. Expansionary fiscal policy involves the increased spending of the government or a reduction in tax of the government. Why the government is going for increased spending and reduction in taxes? Because it needs to increase money flow in the hands of people. It needs to create more money in the hands of people. So it would be expanding the employment. It would be going for some investments. It will be providing so many unilateral payments to people like unemployment allowances, pensions, subsidies, grants, etc. Now coming to contractionary fiscal policy, it will be something that the government would be doing by reducing its spending and increasing its tax. So whenever government goes for contractionary fiscal policy, either it would be reducing its spending, or else it would be increasing tax in the economy, or else it will be going for a combination of both of this. Why? Because the government would be making an attempt to halt the economic boom. Again, you can have a neutral fiscal policy, which would be something that deals with when the economy is in a balanced state, and for the very same reason it is mostly rare. Having said so, let's consider the tools. As I've already told you, we will have something called government spending and tax. And spending means it will be impacting the economic output. It will be increasing or reducing the economic output based on whether we are increasing spending or reducing spending. And there is something called tax. And what is tax? It's a compulsory levy that the government will be collecting from its people. Now, we have to consider the two economic scenarios and see how will the government go for inflation and recession with its tools of fiscal policy. During the times of inflation, the government would be increasing the tax, and also the government would be reducing its spending. So that means the government will go for a contractionary fiscal policy. And in the case of recession, the government will be reducing the tax. Also, it will be increasing the spending. And here the government would be going for an expansionary fiscal policy. And this is what you can see, you could have seen, or this is something that you have already seen during the 2008 period. During 2008 period, it was a recession. There was a global financial crisis, and during that time the government was reducing the taxes and increasing the expenditure following an expansionary fiscal policy. That's all about the idea of fiscal policy. Hope you could understand. I request you to like, share and subscribe to this channel for more videos. You can be a part of my Telegram community by clicking onto the link given in the description box. Also, you can download the Learn Oikonomia app. For that also, I'll be providing the link in the description box. That's all. Thank you for watching.